From the Woodfield Athletic Club in Schaumburg, Sports Channel presents the 1995 Illinois High School Association Boys Singles and Doubles Tennis Championships. Well, the weather has not cooperated with the state tournament this year. It has forced the finals indoors. And what effect does that have? Mike Liederman with Corky Layton, we will find out. But do you think it will produce any kind of different tennis from what we normally would expect?
I don't really think so, Mike. I think earlier in the day when the players were waiting to find out what the decision would be indoors or outdoors, it might have bothered them a little bit in the semis. But I think by the time they get to the finals here, they're ready, they're aggressive players, they're used to playing in these conditions, and I think they'll do fine.
The doubles matches the number 1 and number 4 teams. The number 4 team from Moline. Tom Derwin is the coach. He's been there for 28 years. He has built a powerhouse. Interesting, he's got a freshman match with a senior. Tom Marhofer is the freshman. Evan Hornbuckle, the senior. Hornbuckle finished 3rd in the state last year with another partner.
Very good player. He's the lefty. He's the one that's aggressive. He's the attacker. Marhofer, for a freshman, has a tremendous amount of poise. He held his own in the semis. He really came forward when it was necessary. And
they had an easy match in the semifinal against Galesburg, comparatively easy. Deerfield, Chuck Morrison is the coach there. He's been there for 25 years. He's retiring as a teacher this year. They have 2 seniors, Brian Elliott, Brian Panic.
Yes, again, a lefty and a righty paired together. 2 outstanding athletes coming from other sports, Panic playing basketball, Elliott playing soccer, and they use their athletic ability to their best when they're on the tennis court.
Well, it took them a tiebreaker in the first set, and they got by Hinsdale Central. So this should be a good matchup. We'll have it for you, and the singles will follow when we return. First, we'll bring you the doubles final as we are courtside here at the Woodfield Athletic Club, ready for the 1995 Illinois High School Association Boys Championships. And you will see the Moline team as we take a look at them. On the left in the cap is the freshman, Tom Marhofer. And the lefty, Evan Hornbuckle, the senior. And their opponents from Deerfield High School, 2 seniors. There is Brian Elliott on the left and Brian Panic on the right. Deerfield will receive. Elliott will take the serve from Hornbuckle. And right away you see the aggressiveness from the freshman at Moline.
Yeah, Marhofer crossed well on that one. He was looking for that right from the return.
30 love. The service return goes wide from Panic.
I think it's 15-all. He let that one drop. I think it bounced in.
Was the call
overturned? Yeah, it was in.
Okay, call it 15-all. Fine save by Panic, but just long. 30-15.
Yeah, that was set up by a good serve, and Hornbuckle closed in there real quick for that first volley. That's what set that whole point up for them.
A little too aggressive by Hornbuckle, who took his eye off the ball on the short cross court he was attempting.
Yeah, Panic really laid that return down low, right at his feet, made him volley up, couldn't get it over the net.
First service. You hear the cheers in the background. There's a consolation match going on to our right, so you don't get confused. And first game, a break point against Moline.
Yeah, Hornbuckle didn't read the top spin very well on that lob. I think he made late contact. That's why that thing sailed on him.
butterflies a factor?
Maybe a little bit on both sides right now. First 4 games of the match, they'll probably just be feeling each other out, trying to get a rhythm on the returns and the serves, trying to get in on their first volleys, get their technique down, not making any big errors.
We're at deuce. Well, the freshman made no mistake there with the easy overhead.
That's right. He made sure he hit that one out in front of him. Elliott a little too much topspin and a little short on that lob. There it is. Just didn't get under it enough. And he was right there.
That's the result. And right back, another good return by Panic. Deuce number 3.
Yeah, he's really locking in on this serve. He's really zeroed in right now, first game. Elliott's got to get on track here. Okay, well, he attacked that one. Just came over it a little too much.
Another game point here for Moline. What an answer right there.
That's an incredible return. That's the reason they tried that Australian formation on the first serve, trying to cut off that return, but there's not much you can do about this one. It's just gone. No time to react.
4th deuce.
Yeah, he really handled that half volley really well, kept the ball low. Elliott got under it, but not enough. And it ended right there.
And it drops in.
Okay.
Panic.
Another good
Precise.
return sets that up. Elliott's all over the ball. Drives it down the middle.
Opening up.
And that's what you're looking for. Pull the guy wide so you can drive it down the middle.
Deuce number 5 here in game 1. And a good service winner.
Okay, that was a nice wide serve. He's been going inside at Elliott, and that time he went outside.
And after 5 deuces, Moline holds serve first game. They lead at 1-love. Well, at this point, you talk to the Moline team and you say with a freshman and a senior, is the senior the steadying force? And boy, Evan Hornbuck will be the first one to tell you, no, Marhoff is quite cool. And we saw that in the first game. Even though the overheads he was hitting, Corky, weren't terribly hard. It didn't seem to be terribly hard. It's very easy to shank those at the beginning of a championship match.
That's right. He kept his cool. He moved in there, made sure he made good, solid contact with every ball. He knows his job out there, and he's doing it well.
Good look at Hornbuckle, also a soccer player.
Yeah, Hornbuckle served really well in that first game. That made it a little bit easier for Marhofer at the net, but I mean, he was, you know, definitely very cool for a freshman.
The Deerfield team, Coach Chuck Morrison. Brian Panic on the left, Brian Elliott on the right. Panic will start the serve. And we'll take a look at the different formation where they use the left-hander and the right-hander with 4 hands to the alleys. We'll talk about that a little bit more. The Moline team has the 4 hands to the alleys formation, the lefty and the righty. The righty in the deuce court. And that overhit from Elliott is long.
Yeah, I think he mistimed his jump a little bit on that one, dropped his head, hit it a little late, so it sailed on him. Okay, there's a nice slow return. Hornbuckle got that down at Panic's feet and he had trouble getting it up.
Love 30.
Goes way up. Pull that one down.
Hit the tape. Love 30. We'll see a second serve here from Brian Panic. Good save by Hornbuckle, and the freshman came in with the overhead again. So a triple breaker here for Moline.
Yeah, they saw their opportunity. They turned that point around in the middle. Deerfield had an opportunity to close that on a high return and lost the advantage, and Moline closed in, and there they are on the attack. That's a great overhead. Moved in as a team. Well, he caught that one a little late. Got a lot of kick on it. Just met it late. He's got to beat that ball early if he wants to bring it down.
15-40. Deerfield saves one break point. Two more to deal with here. And there Elliott came through with the volley.
Yeah, that's what they got to do more of. They've got to set these points up. They can't try to close them out quite so fast. They work the volley. Hit the first ball back. Elliott's there. Very nice angle.
Break point number 3 here for Moline. And Brian Panic coming through.
Well, there's a first serve. That's one of the first ones he's gotten in this game, but it's at the right time.
And a double fault. Number 1 in the match.
Yeah, he's struggling on his first serve. He's trying to do too much with his second. And he's getting the depth, but he's just missing. Missed by about an inch.
And this time, Moline comes through with the break.
Yeah, that ball dropped. Hit that way too late.
So a 2-love lead here for Moline as they break. And their first effort. Now Marhofer to serve. Tom Marhofer, 15 years old.
His serve is not as strong as Hornbuckle's, but he moves it around well, and he makes him hit the ball.
See the signals they flash to each other.
Yeah, there's the overhead.
Well, Deerfield saved one, couldn't save the other. Moline is just having a wonderful time right now at this point.
Well, they remembered from the first game, and they tried the Australian formation against Panic, and that helped set that point up. Gave Hornbuckle an easy overhead at the end of the point.
30-love. $40-love.
Yeah, Panic was ready to poach. He just didn't see the ball coming. These guys are moving to the net. Guys from Moline are moving to the net real well. Whether it's a volley or a ground stroke, that first ball, they're keeping the ball low. That was a nice serve.
Serve and volley. Easily done. And Moline now with the break. A 3-love lead.
Yeah, Hornbuckle pulled out a little bit early, but he didn't get past. He was there. The ball was in the middle. He put it away.
Let's take a look at the road to the finals for both these teams. First for Marhoefer and Hornbuckle in Moline, knocking off the team from Chicago Mather. And then team from McHenry, Wheaton Warrenville South, Lew and Streetman. And Knutson and Rogers from, Slutsky and Bradley from Glenbrook South, the only 3-setter. Then Anderson and Jetton from Bloomington. And the semifinal, Bobachek and Steckley from Galesburg, 2 and 3. So you can see they have had a good run here. Deerfield, meanwhile, as they're getting instructions from their coach, down a break. No 3-setters so far, but that last match against Butekoffer and Preheim from Hinsdale Central, very tough match in that first set. Several service breaks there before Deerfield won in a tiebreaker 7-5 and then 6-3 in the second to get them here. And now with Elliott serving, Deerfield wins the first point.
Yeah, well, Elliott's serving second.
Big action, great point, but then the mistake by the freshman, the first one he's made.
Right, got a little anxious there, hit that ball way too hard. I think he knows it. It's a great lob.
As we come back live with a service winner. 40 Love.
How they called a foot fault on that. Slid over the line a little bit.
Take it back. Still 30 Love, second serve. And call a fault as the linesperson. Very emphatic. Again, the players are not used to having linespeople make their calls. It really happened first in the semifinals where they put linespeople or chair people there. Here there's a full lines crew headed by Mike Sutko of Oak Lawn in the chair, and it's a veteran crew.
Elliott asked how he foot followed, and the baseline line judge told him.
So we're 30-15 now. Great lob.
Oh, yeah. Can't afford to let those bounce. You got to hit them in the air. No matter how you hit them, you got to hit them in the air. You're not going to catch up to them once they've hit the ground.
Watch him
well
here.
disguised. They're all both going forward, and he senses it.
30 Love and
okay, decent serve.
Elliott with a service winner, so it's a game point here for Deerfield.
Tried to hit that one way too hard. He was going in the right place down the middle, but he just tried to hit it way too hard. I think tough thing there for Moline was, even though Elliott serves second, he is a lefty, and you don't see as many lefties serving out there. It takes a while to get a rhythm on that return.
Well, Panic and Elliott are on the board as we've completed everyone's service, and here is Hornbuckle. Elliott to receive. And Elliott wide.
Just out.
Lob.
It was a great idea. It was a nice touch on the lob, just a little wide.
Following the doubles, we'll have singles, what promises to be a very interesting match of contrasting styles.
Okay, there they went with a Moline went with a poach on Panic's return, and it paid off. Freshman's right there for the volley. Right at Elliott's feet. He's there to pound it away.
30 Love.
Yeah, Elliott still hasn't solved the serve. He really struggled to return it in the first game. I think he's only made one or two so far.
Both, you can see right off, well-coached teams, as you would expect from two coaches of the caliber of these. And Elliott wide with his volley.
Okay, again, the ball down the middle. Reaching out for the ball. Little miss hit.
And as both teams come to the changeover, Moline up a break at 4-1. First set, doubles championship. The broadcast rights to today's match have been granted to Sports Channel by the Illinois High School Association. Any reproduction or rebroadcast of this event without the written consent of the IHSA and Sports Channel is strictly prohibited. While we have a moment, we'll tell you again. I'm Mike Lederman with Corky Layton here at the Woodfield Athletic Club. Forced indoors by the weather here, the unpredictable Chicago Springs. First time in a couple of years that this has happened, where the tournament has been forced at least in part indoors. But all the matches, singles and doubles, I believe, will be completed today. They have a back draw where consolation matches go on, and of course all these matches produce points for the team championship, which is the real prize here at the high school level. Brian Panic to serve 1-4. Outstanding action.
Yeah, that's great doubles right there. Both teams trying to attack. Elliott a little late on that last volley. Sailed long.
Well, they're playing the freshman, Deerfield is, and not having a lot of success because Marhofer is just throwing everything back. Now, Hornbuckle got a little too much of that one.
Right. Good kick for Panic on that serve. Forced Hornbuckle way back, reached back, and couldn't bring it down.
There's Brian, point guard on the Warriors basketball team. And quite a return again by Marhofer at the feet of Panic.
Right, that was a great low return. Panic struggling to get in. He's pretty deep when he tried to hit that volley. He's got to get in closer if he wants to be able to cut those off.
Big point for Deerfield early in the match, 15-30. Down a break. And it'll be 2 break points coming up for Moline one more time.
Yeah, Panic went for a little bit too much angle on that one, a little sloppy on the technique. With the right idea, had them both back going for that angle, but
15-40.
Okay, nice overhead. Hornbuckle stuck his racket out, made an attempt. He's made a couple of those already today.
Break point, number 2. Just wide.
Too careful on that lob. I think he did the right thing. He just mishit it a little bit. Had to cut it too close.
And again, Panic has brought his team back to deuce. And the lob is long. Boy, you look at the aggressiveness of both teams on serve. They're just not taking prisoners. Just charging and charging.
Yeah, that was a good attempt at a lob. He drew him in again.
Panic.
Yeah, well, the difference at the end of that game is Panic was closing in much better on his serve. He was getting in there for that volley. You know, forced him to have to hit a much better ground stroke or lob the ball over his head, take a chance on the return, and hit a lob on the return.
Marhofer now with his second service game. His team up a break. First set.
Elliott got jammed a little bit on that return, but that's one he's got to make. That's a real tough serve. Pinned it right against his body. Tell you, this freshman is playing with an awful lot of poise.
Good look at Tom Marhofer. 30 love.
Yeah, Panic was there for that one. That was a great return from Elliott. Kept it down at Marhofer's feet, and Panic was there for the easy volley. Put it away. Here it is. Marhofer trying to get down, Panic all over it.
30-15. Strong serve to the forehand down the middle.
Well, that Australian formation messes them up a little bit, makes them think. Takes their mind off the return.
And yes, the overhead by Hornbuckle. Beautifully done.
I think that's a question of, you know, a reflex lob situation. You forgot the guy's left-handed. The ball went up to his overhead. He put it away.
All right, Moline now. 5-2. We'll be back. Deerfield to serve. Must hold serve to hold on to a chance for the first set.
Yeah, Moline had a lot of trouble getting the rhythm on Elliott's serve the first time he served in this set. See if they make any adjustments here. Now, Marhofer broke a string in the beginning of that point, and they tried to steer the ball to his side of the court to take advantage of it and hit the ball out. You just got to play straight up and play the best tennis they know how.
One service break in the set so far. That was on Panic serve. Deerfield must hold here to hold on to a chance at this set.
Okay.
15 all.
Yeah, nice serve by Elliott. Hornbuckle just tried to do way too much with that return. He hit it way too hard.
Marhofer with a big forehand.
Yeah, Panic's got to know that ball's coming right to him. When you're at the net, every ball is yours.
15-30. Moline 2 points from set. And may have been another string right there, or just a frame.
Yeah, that sounded more like a frame. But there,
it's a Roger Rabbit. It was framed.
Big hit there.
30-0. And double fault against Elliott.
I'll cut that one a little too close. Just got to put the ball in play and make these guys work.
Second double fault for Deerfield. First for Elliott.
Okay, let's see.
Here we go. It could not have come at a better time for Moline. Point. And that is it.
Well, he finally got a line on that return. He'd overhit it twice wide. That one went down the middle and caught Panic off guard.
And first set, 6-2 to Moline. Now the Deerfield team talking. They've not been behind much, if at all, this year. Only a couple of instances during the high school season they dropped the first set. And Moline quickly.
Yeah, they've got Deerfield's going to have to work a lot harder on these returns to keep those guys out of keep Moline out of the picture.
Evan Hornbuckle on a full roll here.
Yeah, Deerfield played that point very tentatively, and they paid the price for it in the end. They've got to start attacking more if they're going to get back into this match. That's a great overhead at the end by Hornbuckle. Okay, there's the return they're looking for. Deerfield has got to keep that ball down low when Hornbuckle's closing in to make him try to volley up.
30-15, first game, second set. Moline took the first set 6-2.
All right, there's another good return. Panic got that one way down, made him volley up, and the ball went wide.
30 all here. And a football call.
Okay, Elliott went for a little bit too much angle on that one. Did the right thing, just went for a little too much, ball sailed wide.
So Hornbuckle with a game point here. Moline lost only twice all season. Deerfield lost but once. Overhead by the freshman.
Great poise on that one. Hung in the air, timed his swing, made good solid contact. That was all set up by a great first volley by Hornbuckle, though he really kept that ball low.
So Marhofer and Hornbuckle, Moline up a set. They've taken the first game. We'll be back. Let's move to action later in the match. Deerfield serving. This is Elliott.
Yeah, he went for too much. I think there were some other better options there. I think it started. Panic should have hit that first ball in the air.
The crowd is very much into this match.
Yeah, I think the crowd being it's an understatement.
That one flies wide off the racket of Elliott. Long,
but there's a good crowd for both teams here. Look at that crowd. Oh, they know they're on camera, I think.
Ah, yes. We have a word for that we can't use on the air.
Well, there's a little bit of a disadvantage of having both forehands down the middle. Who's going to take it? A little bit of confusion here. Elliott starts to go for it. Panic starts to go for it. Nobody goes for it.
And it's a triple break point. And a momentary reprieve as that net cord bounced in for a let. Big return from Hornbuckle.
Boy, he was ready for that one.
Oh.
He gave him 3 serves in the same place. Boom.
Oh.
He knew where he was going and pulled it down. Good power, good topspin. He's right there. Another break.
Break from Moline. Third break in this set.
Oh, that's a great shot. He didn't have much room to work with either. Elliott hit a great angle there. Hornbuckle was on the net. Elliott now without the hat. Big angle. Less hat, more angle.
There's Brian Elliott. Again, the ball is loose on the court. These two teams, obviously from different areas of the state, have not played each other yet this season, but they certainly know of the other's accomplishments. First service coming here for Hornbuckle.
Well, that was a little long.
Hornbuckle hit a great inside-out volley.
Hit a great,
just long there.
Right. Wasn't ready for that one. Got handcuffed a little bit.
Yep. Love 30.
Okay, well, He's right back in with Marhofer, really ready for that volley there. Elliott got the ball up a little too high. Right here, and he's all over it. That's the thing you try to avoid. That's basic doubles. Keep the ball away from the guy at the net.
15-30. Well,
Panik just has so much on that return. It's tough for Hornbuckle to control that volley.
you talked about having the players get used to the other serves. They're used to them now. They're breaking at every opportunity, it seems. Double breaker here.
Might have been a foot fault there.
Called the foot fault. Second serve coming. And Deerfield breaks right back. We are back on serve, whatever that means in this set, at 3-2.
Yeah, well, that was a nice return right at the feet.
Here's the Moline team with Coach Tom Darrowin. And while they're conferring, we'll tell you, Sports Channel, your home for the IHSA Championships next weekend. We've got the girls Class A softball, June 3rd at 3, June 4th at noon. The Class A baseball, we'll be bringing that to you from Springfield. 2 o'clock. Following that, we'll have the girls soccer championship, and then the boys volleyball that night at 8. So all sorts of high school action coming your way right here on Sports Channel with Corky Layton. I'm Mike Lederman. You're looking at the Moline team and Coach Tom Darrowin. He's already got a state championship a couple of years ago. He has a son who was a state champion, Tom Darrowin, back in '92. 28 years coaching Moline, and he turns out a fine group of young people. And this is another example. There you see the team, the freshman, Marhofer on the right, Hornbuckle, the senior, on the left. As a match with Deerfield has ebbed and flowed. Now we're on serve, third set. Panik serving.
Yeah, both coaches were talking about how confident they were in their ability to return.
And both coaches have had sons who are state champions. Look out.
Okay, Moline got on track there, got to the net first, and they won the point.
4 service breaks in 5 games so far this set. And that one floats wide.
Okay, again, very nice return by Hornbuckle. Caught Panik coming in. He was back pretty deep for that volley and launched it long.
Brian Panik on the left, Brian Elliott on the right. 2 seniors from Deerfield. In a jam right here. And right back to our camera.
Oh my God, Marhofer went up the...
Marhofer tried to climb the wall, and boy, he came down hard on his shoulder.
Yeah, it looks like he bounced back though. He's smiling, he's ready to play.
I mean, he did one of those Brian McRae's, I mean, up against the wall and came straight down, parallel to the ground, but he's all right. 15-30.
Okay, good serve by Panik there. Hornbuckle just came over that ball a little too much. That was wide. Okay, Moline has to remember that they don't have to win it on the return here. They've got to make them hit the ball.
Pushed wide by Elliott.
Okay, Elliott was there, but a little bit too much of a swing on that one. Hit it late, it sailed long.
You don't have those problems outside. Got to get behind. Actually, our camera scaffolding is there.
Just out. Well, with these big serves, there's a lot of pressure on these returners. It's amazing there's been as many breaks as there have. But they seem to be able to catch the server coming in.
Game point. Super touch by Panic.
Well, there it is. They caught him again, but he had the touch, and he just, nice little drop volley. Hornbuckle wasn't be able to come up with it. Look at that. Just caught him 2 feet behind the service line, and he drop volleyed it. And there's a service hold.
A rare occurrence here, only the second time that's happened in this set. And as you see, we're all even halfway through, or thereabouts. Now here's an interesting spot for a freshman. 7th game, 3rd set, and you're serving. But as he has all afternoon long, he has not played like someone in this tournament for the first time.
Just incredible poise for a freshman. I mean, he moves in, he makes his shots, and he lives with what happens. Got caught a little late on that one. Now there's adrenaline's a factor here, but he looked a little tired moving in on this one.
Ready to go again. They don't have to put a 30-second clock on these guys. And boom.
Well, he moved in on that volley. Panic moved in on the serve, and he was standing there waiting for the volley. Look at this. I mean, he's 3 feet inside the service line. Boom.
Right up the middle.
Yeah.
Where the forehands are.
Yeah, he's waiting for it and going after it. Okay, back in the Australian here trying to neutralize Panic's return.
Second serve first, they go to the conventional formation. Yeah. Wicked return by Panic.
That's the return they're trying to neutralize with that Australian formation. They may want to stay in that for that second serve also. Okay, here it is. Steps into it and drills it.
And again,
wide.
Hoffa caught up. Bit short. We're at 30 all.
Panic all over that one. That was a very, very short second serve. Elliott was all over the ball. When Marhofer popped it up, Panic was in there to put it away.
Break point here for Deerfield. At 3-all, 3rd set. Can't get much tighter than this. And boy, Marhofer answering.
Well, he changed where he was hitting it. He's been serving to Panic's backhand, and he's been stepping into him, so he moved it over to the forehand. That put a little more pressure. Had to think, had to change the shot a little.
Wow. Another big serve. Deerfield lucky to return it at all. And
gets in there, stretches Elliott out, barely gets his racket, pops it up, and Marhofer standing there waiting for it. Here's the freshman.
Hello.
Ba-boom.
Game point for Moline. Once again.
Okay.
And Marhofer holds.
Yeah, he made a nice first volley that time. His wrist didn't collapse at all. He moved into it, and he was there for that overhead at the end. Okay, there he is. He handcuffed Elliott again here, moving in on the overhead, and it's away.
All right, we're on serve at 4-3, 3rd set. Nervous time. We'll be back. Well, let's make it the 8th game. We can add, and
yeah, that was a fairly short serve by Elliott, and I think it caught Marhofer by surprise a little bit, but Panic was all over it.
Worked for Deerfield. On serve here, 3rd set, 4-3. 3-4.
Okay, another first serve.
Well, we still got singles to come, and that promises its own fireworks.
Yeah, I think it's one of the interesting things about the return, so many breaks here, is that when these teams get to the net, they're not ending the point. Sometimes the team hitting the ground stroke is controlling.
30-15. That's 30 all.
Okay, just missed that when he closed in better that time, but he mishit that volley. Okay, now he's going back with the hat.
Well, maybe the sun's come out again.
Yeah, maybe got a little glare on that last volley.
30 all. Boy, Mehrhofer made that point with his return, didn't he?
Yeah, he certainly did. As I was starting to say before, I think one of the things that seems to be working here is that these teams are taking advantage of these serves as an approach shot.
Big break point here.
All right, that one's in the net. They got in on top of the net that time. Yeah, many times when the servers are losing these points, they're getting trapped behind the service line.
Don't blink, you're going to miss a point. Now here they're going to caucus over on the Deerfield side. 2 seniors for Deerfield, Brian Panic, and there Brian Elliott, senior and a freshman. Moline.
Whoops.
And a rare miss by Mehrhofer.
Mehrhofer lost his footing there in the middle of that volley and then fell down at the end of it. He was moving in to try to close this out, trying to recover after the overhead, and just kind of lost his footing there.
A lot of Warrior fans holding their breath. That ball wouldn't hit the ceiling. They called the footfall.
Come on, Moline. Come on,
They just call it wide. Excellent play.
Marhofer thought he would switch him up with that lob volley, but Panic got back in plenty of time, and Elliott was there to close it out. That's good tennis.
So Hornbuckle to serve. On serve at 4-4. Bye.
It's all gone.
Hope you're enjoying this one. Tough not to with a match like this. Serve was long.
Okay. Force that return a little bit.
Panic kicking himself for that one.
Yeah, it was a decent serve. He had a good shot at it.
And the footfall called.
A lot of footfalls. These guys are pivoting in the middle of their motion and crossing that line with the foot coming down the line. Okay.
Hornbuckle with the big overhead.
Left-handed overhead. Again, I think a lot of these reflex situations, Elliott's getting trapped and he's putting the ball up to where it should be to somebody's backhand, and there's Hornbuckle with that big overhead.
40 love.
Panic with another really tough backhand return. Hornbuckle trying to close in, not quite able to get in there in time.
As even a match as you'd want. Moline winning the first set 6-2. Deerfield the second 6-2. On serve here in set number 3. Panic was looking for an out call there. Didn't get it. So, game to Moline. And we have had our 4th straight service hold now after 4 breaks in 5 games. 5-4, we'll be back. Deerfield's Brian Panic to serve at 4-5.
Okay. Deerfield was in control there. Nice deep serve. Panic went for a little bit too much on that angle volley. It's the right shot, just went a little too far wide.
So, love 15.
Okay. Again, Elliott all over that return across the middle. I don't think either team's going to get away with that shot.
You just wonder with these two teams, if you don't take that first place trophy, it's cut it in half. 15.
Amazing action. Yeah, tried to run around that backhand to hit a forehand, pulled it a little bit too wide.
Tremendous similarity of the play of both these teams, and it manifests itself in the score so far. And called out, a delayed call, but it was out. 30 all.
Okay, well, they closed in tight that time. Tried to hit a semi-lob volley.
Can't tell from that angle, but it was back. We're sitting right on the baseline.
Yeah, miss hit on that return. A little late. Sails wide.
Good look at Marhofer, and here's Panic.
Okay, nice deep serve. They're looking for a call. They thought it was out. Moline thought it was out.
Tom Darrowin up, coach talking to the, there you see Darrowin talking to the chair umpire, but Mike Sutko says no, call will stand. We're at 5 all.
As you said before, this is about as even as it gets.
Marhofer to serve, 5 all.
Okay, they caught him in a switch there. Backpedaling to the baseline. Panic took advantage of it and laid that ball down in the opening. Here's Panic attacking, moving in between them. Marhofer can't get over to make the shot.
Marhofer at 15.
Good call. Good call. Come on.
I think Marhofer's pumped.
I think he's pumped.
Oh boy.
Well, Panic tested him on that first volley again, and he didn't waver. Made the first volley. Here comes Panic back right at him.
No fear here. Oh.
Not quite forward enough. Okay. Hornbuckle making Panic play, closing in a little too close, didn't have time to react to that ball.
Any lapse in aggression by either team, and the other team will make them pay.
Absolutely.
Go Panic.
Oh, tough second serve.
That was a great
Nearly a
return and great volley.
Talk about pushing the envelope. Look at the second serve. That got the end of the line. That's a lot.
On 1 foot. Oh.
It's there,
Here's that. Oh,
Boom, boom.
and the ace.
Boom, boom. Second ace for the freshman.
I wonder if that qualifies as an Australian ace.
Change hands. We'll switch it over and can you say tiebreaker, boys and girls?
Here it is again.
Whoa.
The Australian ace.
Back in a minute. We're on serve. 5-6. Deerfield to serve. Well, you hear the crowd on serve. Third set. Deerfield at 5-6. Ryan Elliott. Oh my!
Well, got lucky on a let cord there. Panic had that ball put away. Bounces off the top of the net and lets him back in. All right,
coming back. 15 all now.
Yeah, Elliott closed that one out pretty well. Closed it well on his serve. Won't take any chances on that one.
Strong serve by Elliott.
Nice first serve on there. Marhofer caught the return a little late and it sailed.
Deerfield in the near court, Moline in the far court. 30-15.
Another big first serve from Elliott.
And we're 1 point from a tiebreak to decide the state champion in doubles.
Well, short second serve from Elliott didn't get in quite far enough. Marhofer stepped in and put it right on his ankles.
And we are still 1 point from a tiebreak. The Warriors of Deerfield against the Maroons of Moline.
Come on, eat.
Well,
Yeah, interesting.
not the best time for a double fault if you're for Deerfield.
Well, after hitting two big first serves to win it, to win 2 points in a row, go up 40-15, Elliott chooses to hit two spinners and double faults on the second point.
Only the third double fault for Deerfield, and now Moline's going to get a look at the second serve here at deuce.
All right, well, that time Elliott made the serve work, got in, made the volley, hit it short, made Marhofer hit this shot, sailed it long.
Back to live action.
Oh, and it's a miss hit.
And tie break it is. Could it be any other way for this match?
This is just as close as it gets right here.
6 all, third set, 12-point tie break to decide the state champion.
Now in the tiebreaker against Hinsdale in the semis, Deerfield won the first 4 points in a row. Okay, well that was a nice volley. Heads up play.
Moline.
This ball's just up too high.
Puts it to the backhand side. Buckle to serve.
Okay, good deep serve. Panic missed a return. Doesn't miss many of those.
All right, 2-1. here in the 12-point tiebreak. First to 7. Of course, winning by 2. Hello. All right. Okay, we'll take that back. We're going Davis Cup scoring now. So we will keep playing. Cork, I got caught. So it's 7-6, and we're still on serve.
Yeah, well, when I noticed Hornbuckle serving 3 times in a row, I knew
That'll
probably,
do it, yeah. That'll sort of tip you off, wondering what's going on. Coaches are coaching. Tom Derwin loves this. So we're playing this one out. We could be here a while. Panic to serve.
That's a great overhead, great point by both teams. Deerfield attacking, kind of closed in a lot closer that time. Here they are finishing off the point. Elliott goes up for the overhead, smacks in the alley. Okay, again a nice deep serve by Panic. Hornbuckle, a little bit of a miss hit on the return, sailed long.
Big break from Moline off that net cord.
Yeah, they got the let cord off. The volley let him back in the point. Deerfield was right on top of the net. Look how close they are here. Hornbuckle with the top spin lob. No way to get to that ball.
Put it in your pocket and try again.
All right, got caught on a switch there. Elliott couldn't get there to track down the first one. Panic had to reflex this ball back up. And there's Marhofer, the freshman, all over it. He's into this match.
30 all.
Okay.
And Marhofer coming up short there.
He wanted to keep that ball low down the middle. Just kept it a little too low. Again, Panic got in a little closer that time, put more pressure on him.
Game point Deerfield. Again, no tiebreaker here. They play it out in the third set, much the way they do in Davis Cup, Wimbledon. Now Elliott is saying the ball hit Hornbuckle before it went out, but
Let's go, guys. Come on.
not getting the call there.
Well, here's the serve. Traps him a little bit. And he's saying that right here it hit him. It's tough. We can't see it on our camera. And that's something you got to call on yourself.
That's a deuce. Ball hits you before it bounces, even if you're out of bounds. You lose the point.
All right. Elliott up there by himself, more of a target, but he turned it around, became aggressive right there at the end when he needed to. Puts the ball away. You got both Moline guys coming up here now. Marhofer attacking Elliott. Elliott hanging in there. Marhofer reflexes it back. Elliott puts it away.
All right, advantage Deerfield. Yeah, Forehand down the line.
Marhofer caught Elliott leaning. I think he was right next to that ball, but all his momentum was going the other way.
Right
Boom.
there, frozen.
Yep. No way he could get back to that one. Yeah, caught the outside.
Good. Just caught the outside of the line, and it is match point now for Moline.
That's being in the right place at the right time. Caught the outside edge of the line. Panic hadn't closed in far enough, and he couldn't track down the ball after it bounced.
What a finish. And it's not finished. Match point right here. Breaker against Panic at Deerfield. Yeah! And there it is. Can you believe it?
There's Moline.
Can you believe it?
Elliott was all over that ball. Incredible.
You see Brian Elliott, Brian Panic, congratulating the winners from Moline. They are numb.
Hornbuckle, the seniors, being mobbed by the crowd from Moline.
Oh my, a match that was so fast-paced and took barely 2 hours for the 3 sets just ends so abruptly, and you can almost feel the thump and the thud.
It's just amazing. Big first serve, big volley, and that's just right there.
6-2, 2-6, 8-6. Moline, Marhofer, and Hornbuckle taking the state championship doubles. Wow, what a match. Let's take a look at match point again. Now, we're confused, and we will pass that along. It is not a tiebreaker. You play it out here in this situation. Here is match point. Elliott nets the volley, and just like that, it ends.
Yeah, the key to this match was whoever was the most aggressive seemed to control the match, and at the end, just a little bit too aggressive on Deerfield's part, and it ends.
Comparatively few errors, extremely well played. Two teams that were so evenly matched, even to the point of having one right-hander and one left-hander on the team.
Absolutely.
Aggressive.
Both teams very aggressive.
Big but not overpowering serves, extremely good ground strokes and volleys, and a tremendous court presence.
And taking advantage, really keeping their heads in the match, taking advantage of every single opportunity, both teams. Just an exceptional doubles match here, probably one of the finest state final doubles matches I've ever had a chance to see.
Well, we have got more coming up. There you see Chuck Morrison, the Deerfield group. They finished second. Moline finishing first, the winners. We've got singles coming up, and if this is anything like the doubles, you won't want to miss it. We'll be back. Welcome back to the Woodfield Athletic Club. Time for the singles right now, and it pits a freshman against a senior. As we'll take a look at the competitors, coming to you now is Dennis Carroll. He's a senior from Lyons High School. And if you want to talk as similar as the doubles teams were, this is about as different. You'll watch Carroll with the big booming serve against Danny McCain. And he starts with
there it is right there.
Against Danny McCain, a freshman who has beaten Carroll in the past. There is McCain. He is a freshman. He is ranked nationally, 19th in the under-16s.
Well, that may be part of the secret right there. Carroll's going to keep attacking. McCain's going to look on ways to soften him up, stretch him out on a volley right there.
Carroll seated second and McCain seated first, so the seedings have panned out in the finals.
Yeah, that was a nice return. A lot of power on that second serve, but he got under it and looped it over his backhand. There he is.
Here's McCain. Carroll, as you can see, big guy, 6'5". Serve is 110 plus at times, we're told. 110 miles an hour or better.
Well, he's got a lot of work on that arm and his footwork, being a football and basketball player. What an athlete.
Three-sport athlete. Right now he finds himself down. Double break point here in the first game. First set. Oh, what a shot from McCain.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Carroll's used to hitting those big serves, getting in and putting that volley away, and McCain was right there, flicked it over his head, right on the baseline.
And just like that, he has the first break here in the first game. Here's a look at Danny McCain, and you talk about not worrying about the face of the big hitter. Danny McCain, at the age of 15, has quite a tennis pedigree. Take a look at his road to the finals. Very few problems. Only was extended once, and that was by Nelson, Charles Nelson. Well, first let's take a look at Dennis Carroll. Again, all two setters. He beat Lars Nelson of Chicago University High in the semis, 4-3. And there's McCain. He also has had straight sets wins, culminating with Matt Horsley, the number 6 seed from Hinsdale Central, half of the winning doubles team from last year, playing singles this year. He went down 3-4. So Danny McCain undefeated on the year. Handed Carroll one of only 3 defeats.
Yeah, they called a let here. They're going to play this one over again.
First game, the second game, first set. McCain with a break. First game, first set.
There's an interesting turn of the table. McCain coming to the net, and Carroll hitting a great lob. And then McCain just hits this one off the frame.
Good serve from McCain.
Whoa. What a dig.
Whoa.
Here's where that athletic ability comes in.
When you got a 6'5" guy getting that low, you know he's hitting a shot. Watch this.
He just slashes at it, and there it is. Back in the court.
15-30.
Well, that's a nice passing shot.
Oh, look at Carroll. He's giving McCain a dose of his own medicine.
Yeah, McCain's coming to the net, and Carroll's past him. This is interesting.
15-40, double break point against McCain. Two very interesting tennis stories, these two. That forehand flies by. We have another break, and we're back on serve here.
And a rare unforced error by McCain.
So Carroll to serve, and again, things happen so quickly. We'll try to give you an idea of, take a look at McCain's forehand floating long. An idea of the power of Carroll. He's going to be serving right into our camera. Basketball player, as a matter of fact, is going to try to walk on. Headed for Notre Dame, who wants to walk on basketball. John McLeod will get him, and he's not going to play tennis, which probably upset a lot of the Irish tennis people.
It's incredible. I mean, not only is he swinging hard, he's hitting that ball on the way up. You don't have any time to see it coming.
Kane just did get a record on that. But the thing you have to be impressed with so far with Carroll is his ability to hit the ground strokes and the volleys. Again, it's early.
That's a great passing shot.
You talk about.
It's about 10 miles an hour slower, but almost right on the service line there. Kane just stepped in and ripped it in front of him.
Talk about the contrasting styles of these two. You know, McCain's got a powerful game of his own. He's very much, I guess we were talking earlier, like Agassi, very aggressive baseline player, and will come to the net some. It's not a question about a pulverizer against the backboard. It's nothing like that.
You know, hitting some nice returns, though, putting a lot of pressure on Carroll.
Just the thought of things here. First set, 2 games, 2 breaks.
The disadvantage, of course, of that low toss is that you don't have much margin for error. Well, that time he closed in real tight, made sure that one was away.
Very nice touch. Wrong foots McCain. And
pretty good depth, but he gets in real close for this volley. Hits it behind him.
30 all. Well, it's not going to be easy to call those lines. No. They asked the chair umpire for an overrule, but did not get it, so 40-30. Call the fault.
You have great eyes to call those lines.
Oh. A few whistles from the crowd. I don't know how they could see.
There's a second serve. McCain got to look at a second serve, hit a pretty good return. Stretch Carroll out again. Well, he broke a string on the return, and usually what happens when you try to hit a ground stroke with a broken string is the ball sails, and that's exactly what happened there.
Carroll looking to hold serve here. As McCain gets himself a new war club right there. And a new racket, we might add. Now you see it.
Big serve.
Now you don't.
Yeah. Not too many people in the world wouldn't be late on this one.
Whoa. Well, you know, that's why technology is so good. That is slow-mo, so you can actually see what Carroll's hitting at you. His coach is Bill Wham, another aptly named individual in the world of tennis, Bill Wham. We'll talk more about that and come back here after this. Singles Championship, Mike Lederman with Corky Layton, Doug Stanton, our Sports Channel crew in the truck, and we're on serve for a set. And once again,
Carroll gave him about a half an inch and he found it.
Dennis can only applaud that shot as McCain ripped that forehand.
Oh, look, he just leans just a little bit. Kane lays it right in the area, right almost on the line. Big serve from McCain, a little bit overhit.
30 love. You can see McCain has tremendous footwork, and this is what wins him a lot of matches. If he ever gets in trouble, it's because his feet slow down, and that happens rarely. Undefeated in high school competition this year, played Junior Davis Cup. 15 years old. Backhand by Dennis Carroll is long.
Carroll started that point trying to attack the serve and ended up backing up the rest of the point, just kind of chopping the ball back, and there's a desperation backhand that sails long. Well, McCain missed the volley, but for not being a serving volleyer, he's getting in there. He's hitting nice deep serves and getting in there often. Here he comes.
Miss hit by McCain.
I don't know if fatigue is going to become a factor in this match, but these guys both played long singles matches in the semis. They're out here almost 2 hours to play 2 sets each. Jumped.
Game to McCain.
I jumped a little bit on that one and dumped it in the net.
We are tied at 2. You see Danny McCain, coached by his parents. Mom and dad are the coaches at Springfield Sacred Heart Griffin. And Carroll pushed that backhand volley wide. How McCain got the serve back, we're still wondering.
It's amazing.
Love 15.
Carroll faked on that one, got the lobby wanted, and couldn't close him fast enough to put it away.
And Carroll again with an error.
That's the ball he wants to see.
Sure. Right here.
That's
Hit
what I
me.
want, right there.
Hurt me.
Oh, he looked away.
Well, we've all done it. Matter of fact, saw Boris Becker do that just a couple of weeks ago against Thomas Muster on clay in Europe. And there's ace number 2.
Big serve.
That's one way to keep from hitting those tricky overheads.
And there's just no time to see this coming.
Oh, jeez.
Feet away in half a second.
15-30.
Well, I think that's the way Dennis Carroll wants to play all of the points in this match.
He'd just as soon go 1 and out.
Yeah, serves and overheads.
McCain, more of the ground stroker. Just long. Well, Carroll watching the lines person calling the ball and looking for an overrule here. The ball was called good.
See if we can pick it up in our replay.
Well, it's tough from this angle, I'll tell you though. Sitting right here on the baseline. Well, no, it's obviously long, and we were sitting here. It is long, but the call stands, so.
The chair umpire couldn't overrule it, so.
Break point against Carroll.
Yeah, no doubt about that one. He wasn't going to chance that one dropping in.
I'll check the score. Game Carroll.
And there's that leaping ability from basketball.
All right. We're on serve. 3-2. As we are indoors here at the Woodfield Athletic Club, and we really appreciate their getting everything ready for the IHSA event. Very, very quickly, we'll tell you more about that. Meanwhile, we can also tell you there's lots more state championship action coming your way next weekend here on Sports Channel. The Girls Class A Softball Championships. That's at 3 o'clock on June the 3rd. That's Saturday. And on Sunday at noon, the Boys Class A Baseball Championship starts a triple header that will follow with the girls soccer and then boys volleyball. So lots of good prep sports action right here on the channel. And we hope you enjoy it. We say we are inside today. The Heritage Club in Arlington Heights, the Heritage Tennis Club, taking care of the back draw, the consolation draw, and they are opening up their courts for the IHSA, and we thank them as well. And here is Danny McCain serving 2-3.
That's a nice serve by McCain. Carroll trying to chip the return, couldn't quite get under it. Ball called wide. Okay, that one looked wide. All right, he jumped up on that one, came way over the top. Tendency on big serves. Try to lead into it with a big return jump up in the air and you come right over the top of the ball. Got to stay down to make those work.
Love game from McCain.
Yeah, McCain moved that serve over about 6 feet. Carroll wasn't ready for it. Caught a little bit off guard here. See him stretched out. Can't make the return come down.
Tied at 3, first set. Danny McCain now to receive. Foot fault called on Dennis Carroll.
Now there's going to be more of those.
Love.
There have been a lot of foot faults called today, so the line judges are looking for him. And Carroll has a big step before he makes contact with the ball.
Indoors, of course, you can see the foot faults more easily. There's no glare off the court the way there is outdoors. No wind, too, of course. Number 3.
Not much chance to swing at that one.
We're going to slow this down for you, folks.
Oh, wow. Right on the service line.
Back live, we get a let.
You go 125 mile an hour let. See if the net's still okay.
Think about that. The speed of a high school serve normally. He's a third higher. Number 4.
Wow. Not much you can do about that.
Love. Certainly makes your game a lot easier to play. McCain said that was long, but McCain, the lines person, said it was good. So 3 aces. Love game. Well,
It's too fast to tell.
even on slow-mo.
Yeah, well, this is the style that Carroll likes to play. 1 or 2 balls for the length of the rally.
Could end up playing a set in about 5 minutes.
Yeah. Well, if it weren't for the changeovers, they'd probably be able to do that.
Talking with his coach. And there's Danny McCain, who has a load of experience, even at the tender age of 15, which we, of course, have heard or have seen is not a young age for tennis players. The high school level, very few compete at the high school level if they're off trying to turn pro. Here's Danny McCain as a freshman, first year in the tournament. He's made the finals. Mike Morrison from Deerfield, whose dad is the coach. State tennis doubles runner-ups, won this tournament 3 times back in the 80s. Mike is here watching today. So. McCain to serve, got a little bit of an equipment problem.
think Carroll's real comfortable playing this style of tennis.
That's exactly what McCain wants. They have an 8 or 9 ball rally.
That's right. This has to be an eternity.
You can start to lose interest. Back to live action. Backhand floater.
Carey's mixing it up. Slowed it down on the first one. Came to the net on the third ball. It's a nice serve.
Now McCain caught the back line. Both players looked up, waiting for something to happen, maybe a call of fault, but no, looked good there.
Well, again, another uncharacteristic, unforced error from McCain. I think part of the problem that he's having is that these points are just so short. He doesn't have a chance to get a rhythm. Just sails off the string long. Oh,
And game to McCain.
and there's McCain with a serve and volley. A little bit of everything that game.
All even on serve at 4. Beautifully played.
Well, that's about as long as a point as Carroll really wants to play here.
McCain did well to get the serve back. Here he stretches him out. One missed overhead's enough for Carroll. Oh,
And there's that big serve.
First double fault.
Well, his racket's moving almost as fast on that spin serve as it is on the flat serve. Sails a little long.
It's interesting. He doesn't throw the ball up high at all. You're normally taught to get that ball high, and here he just comes right. Boom.
Well, the important thing is extending your arm, and he seems to be able to do that somehow. He's leaning into the court pretty far.
Put all
But
that
he's getting that
6'5"
arm
behind you. He's
Yeah. Got that arm all stretched out.
Remember, they've played a match already today. 3 yesterday and 2 the day before.
Yeah.
There it is, serve and volley.
Stand 2 inches from the net and pound it.
Well, we're seeing some kind of good tennis today right now. On serve at 5-4. Back in a minute. Back at the state singles championships, there is Bill Wham, coach of Lyons Township High School, and there is his protege right there, Dennis Carroll, in the singles final against Danny McCain of Springfield Griffin. On serve, McCain to serve at 4-5.
Good serve from McCain. Again, Carroll trying to run and chip and charge behind that return. It's just too fast. Could get under it.
Tough slice backhand from McCain.
Yeah, he's got a very nice slice backhand. I mean, you think this kid's only a freshman, but wow. The level of play is just incredible. Carroll sneaks in, but can't make the volley work.
First started tennis at the comparatively advanced age of 9. It's kind of old for him. Tennis protege. His parents said he loves to play baseball.
Yeah, well, it's tough to give up baseball.
Yeah. As we found out, or is it? Playing it is one thing.
Yeah.
Watching it, I guess, is another. Fans are showing us so far it's not that tough to give up baseball. Ah, they're coming back.
I think so.
And yet another love game for Danny McCain.
Well, there is attacking at the end. Just give me a little bit of rhythm and I'll attack anything.
Right in the camera crow's nest there.
Well, there he got in close that time, made sure that volley worked. McCain tried to go cross court with that passing shot. Just didn't get it quite far enough.
Yeah. Not an empty court right there. Very even match, albeit with very different styles.
Yeah, well,
big volley from Carroll.
Yeah, that's the kind of points he wants to play. Been a nice serve. Plane pops up the return a little bit, sorry.
What was it? No, I'm sorry. What was his quote? Why play 8 balls in a rally when you can win in 3 or 1?
Right. 4 balls is an eternity.
Can you imagine him on grass? Double fault.
But he's got to get them in if they're going to work.
Yeah. No matter how fast. A double fault is a double fault. That's 2 for Carroll. Again, if you're just joining us, these are the state tennis championships. We've been chased inside by the rain. Carroll trying to spin one in for a change.
Oh, he missed the volley.
Just wide.
Got in, got the shot he wanted, missed the volley. Well, McCain's making him work. He's keeping the ball low, making him bend those big legs. Trying to wear him down. There's another big serve.
Wow, good return from McCain. Just scuffed that one. Dumped it in net. Oh, what a return again by McCain.
That's incredible. Any little window, that's about a foot shorter than the other one. He's right on top of it, right at his feet.
Yeah, break point
Incredible.
for Danny McCain here. 5-all. Carroll's having first serve problems this
That
game.
one was about 15 feet long. Yeah,
Right
let him
back
look at
past
that.
him.
Don't let him look at a forehand. McCain stepped into that one and just drilled it down the line.
So after the changeover, Danny McCain will serve for the first set.
Well, you would think if anybody had an advantage indoors, it would be Carroll. I mean, the ball's moving fast. The light isn't quite as good. He doesn't have to worry about wind blowing his toss around. But McCain is stepping up and dealing with everything he has to throw at him.
5 aces for Carroll in the first set. A couple of double faults. As you look at Carroll and his coach. Meanwhile, stay tuned to Sports Channel tonight for the Illinois High School Association Boys Track and Field Championships from Eastern Illinois University in Charleston, if you got a map. Watch the best in the state make their run for the championships. That's tonight at 7. That'll be a lot of fun running in the rain, too. Now, here is Danny McCain at 6'5". Score, not height. That's Carroll's height. McCain for the set.
All right, now, Carroll didn't try to do anything fancy with that return. He just put the ball back in play deep and made McCain do something. It's back in play. Just strokes the ball.
Back live.
Yeah,
Well,
made him run for that one.
I don't know if McCain got all he wanted on that, but it was just fine. Thank you.
You know, Carroll hit a great slice backhand, and the only thing McCain could do was just slash at it. He had a great drop shot.
Good serve.
Big serve by McCain. Late on the contact. Carroll couldn't get all of his weight into that one.
Carroll, and McCain had the answer, and it's set point.
Yeah, he's really stretched him out on that one, saw him coming. Barely got his racket on it.
As the backhand slice floats long, game and first set to Danny McCain, 7-5.
Yeah, Carroll just gave him a little opportunity there, hit a little short on the return. McCain came in and drilled it down the line again.
Earlier this season, McCain and Carroll played with McCain winning in 3 sets, 7-5,
so big.
4-6, 6-4. Can't count that as an ace. There was a little tick on the racket. Net cord and wide.
Well, everybody got a little help from the net.
Yep.
The net sails. A little higher would have been winner.
First game, second set. McCain again with a backhand return.
That was a very nice serve. He's just stretching Carroll out all over the place.
Carroll, the number 2 seed. McCain, top seed.
Wow.
And again.
That's a great return. One step in and just cranked it. Carroll didn't get in quite far enough this time, but gee, it's a great angle.
Just a little cross-court backhand to perfection, that's all.
Yeah.
30 all.
Well, the big serve set it up. Delay here.
Trapped behind the curtain. You watch Carroll, and McCain has taken all the big shots and so far has survived and more.
Right. It's a big serve.
So first game, second set goes to Dennis Carroll. Danny McCain won the first, 7-5. Show you that last point. Right down the middle.
Yeah, that's a big serve.
Back in a minute. Let's rejoin the action later in the second set. Well, if you're just joining us, if you're a bit confused by the location, yes, we are indoors for the state finals. The rain, which had been threatening most of the past end of the week, held off until today's final action, the semifinals and finals, being moved inside here into the Woodfield Athletic Club. The back draw, the consolations, being held also around in Arlington Heights at the Heritage Racket Club, and both clubs on short notice provided quite a bit of hospitality and a lot of court space. And here we are. There's a look at the situation. Nice crowd sitting on the court surrounding the playing surface.
Good support for both players in this crowd.
McCain serving 1-2, 15 love.
Nice wide serve, Carroll. Trying to come in on the return. Couldn't get his racket on it solid.
Good technique on the overhead.
Right, McCain will force Carroll back on the shot before. Hit a short ball, came in, hit a great approach shot, and there's the overhead right there.
Surprising how many players don't like hitting overheads, even at higher levels. Huh? 40 love.
I think McCain does have somewhat of an advantage here if he can keep Carroll back, because Carroll just likes to come to the net all the time. And if McCain can keep him back, even if he has to come in, I think he has an edge.
And we see his passing shots are extremely accurate. Serve was long.
Mishit that one.
First double fault. For McCain. Carroll's got a couple. But if you're going to do it when you're up 40 love.
That's right.
And if you're going to scuff a forehand like that,
Do it when you're up 40-15, right?
anything else you might not want to do at this point and still expect to win win a game.
Well, he tried to catch Carroll moving the other way and just came over it way too much.
See Carroll coming in on the second serve. Second double fault of this game.
Now, a little pressure there. He tried to make that serve too good.
So he got 3 straight points.
I just overhit that one. Stood up a little early, caught it a little late.
Game point here for McCain.
Oh, that was an ace.
Did he get a glove on it?
I don't think so.
First ace. First ace for McCain. So, well, let's see. Nope, that was clean.
Yeah.
Clean ace evens the second set at 2.
All right. Serve and volley. That's a great return. I mean, there's nothing he can do about that. Most of the times when you play a big guy, you'd like to jam him in the middle, but McCain's figuring out ways to stretch him out and use every inch of the court.
Again.
He's finding inches that I don't think are there.
And Carroll just keeps reloading the BBs. Watch this.
Yeah, that serve was a little short.
Not that one.
No, no.
Number 6. Number 7.
Well, the hope when you play against a big server like this is that when he does hit you a second serve, you do a good enough job that he tries to overplay the serve. But Carroll is completely in control. Sounds like a foot fault, yeah.
When he gets on the roll with that serve. Just wide.
Just wide.
Yeah, there was a full line screw here for the finals, but
I mean, just barely wide.
Players are used to calling their own lines, which they do throughout the season. So you'll still see them making calls. It's a tough habit to break. They're not trying to show off the officials. Lines people.
Yeah.
And the serve and volley.
Got the high return he wanted there.
So we are still on serve. We'll show you. This is the kind of point that Dennis Carroll loves to play. The
Moving
return.
in.
Yeah.
There he is, angling off the volley.
Makes it look easy. Meanwhile, he still trails 1 set to love, and we are on serve here in the second set. Danny McCain from Springfield Sacred Heart Griffin, freshman, going against Dennis Carroll, the senior from Lions. McCain, you see with the first set in hand here at the 1995 State Championships. I'm Mike Liederman with Corky Layton, our Sports Channel crew. Set number 2, we are on serve.
Okay, a little late.
2-3.
A little late on that return.
Very close to a foot fault right there. Any old fault will do here. Beautiful action.
Incredible tennis.
Oh.
Carroll got the serve he wanted, moved in, drilled it. McCain put the ball right by him. It wasn't even there. Great volley here, and then just steps in and rips it by him. Squeezes it into that 2 inches along the line.
Good first serve. You know, again, you take McCain's game, and just his serve alone is as powerful as most any high school player. When you put him against Carroll, though, it's a much different thing. And yet, the completeness of his game, as we say, that he double faults again for the 3rd time. But you're looking at a 15-year-old freshman with a very, very mature game.
Yeah, I mean, his serve is as big as anybody in the tournament except for Carroll. Yeah, McCain is very mature, moves things around, always has an answer here. Just came over that ball a little too much.
40-30.
All right, well, Carroll closed in, just missed the volley. Didn't get down low enough.
And again, McCain holds serve as we go to 3-all.
Lots of power, gets in there. But there's the disadvantage of those long legs. It's tougher to get down.
Seventh game, second set. Carroll to serve, 3-all. Big miss hit.
Miss hit, broke another string.
I guess against Carroll, you need a few extra rackets.
Yeah, that ball's moving.
I told you, he is coached by his dad and his mother, who are coaches of the Springfield team. And have been for 8 years. Also teach tennis. And probably string a lot of rackets. That was a
valiant attempt, but that was just a great lob by McCain.
Going. You got to go some to get it over a 6-5 fella.
Yeah.
15-all.
Another big serve. Tough to get your racket around on that one.
Big high hopping second serve. McCain almost put that on the baseline.
Yeah. Well, he got stretched out, but he could still feel the ball in his racket when it came off. He almost put it in there.
Terrific body and racket control on McCain.
Yeah.
Come on,
40-15.
Just pulled down a little bit too hard on that one.
Third double fault.
Well, McCain thought the overhead was out, but line judge calls it in. We'll see it here. See what it looks like to us.
Again.
No, he's in the way.
Can't tell.
Who knows?
But McCain just shrugged the shoulders. And there's a look at Joy Dewar of St. Charles, the chair umpire, and we remain on serve at 4-3. Second set. Danny McCain winning the first set 7-5. McCain over the number 6 seed in the semifinal, Matt Horsley of Hinsdale Central, 3-4. Dennis Carroll defeated Lars Nelson in a tough match, 4-3 from Chicago University High. Nelson, the number 8 seed. Derek Rashid, the number 7 seed, was beaten by Carroll in the quarterfinals, 4-1. And you mentioned that both matches went a while for semifinals, and you wonder how much the players have left, but as you can see, they have quite a bit.
Yeah, the semifinal matches were very different. We had two serve and volleys against against each other in the one semi, and in the other one, McCain and Horsley was a very aggressive baseline match.
Either one of these guys shows a lot of emotion on it.
All right, well, he pulled him way off. McCain pulled Carroll way off the court there. Just trying to get back in the point and then close out the volley. Look at this.
And right there, that's the volley that Carroll's been having trouble with, that backhand volley, and McCain showed him how to do it. Thank you very much. Another foot fault against Danny. Good second serve.
Nice deep second serve. Plenty of pace on that ball. Carroll lifted up too soon. The ball sailed long.
Wide.
Nice driving return to set that up, then attacking behind it. Kane trying to pass him, sent the ball long.
The thing about being a top player, you always have to know where you are on the court. Carroll didn't hesitate, let that one go, and it was out. Back line.
Yeah.
And McCain wanted a call there, didn't get it. On the previous shot, he's asking, didn't that ball carry high?
Keeps this ball real low, slides it. McCain tries to get under it and lifts up a little too early.
He was still thinking about the shot before that he thought, I guess, was out. So now we're at 30 all.
Oh, that's right on the line.
And a break point coming up for Dennis Carroll.
Well, Carroll really steps into this serve. It's not really that short, but he's moving into it.
And Carroll has his break. So
Yeah.
Dennis, now with the first break here in the second set, can serve it out.
Kane got a little excited there, got a short ball and just way overhit it. Okay, well that was all set up with that big serve to start the point, and then he closed in real well.
Might have taken a ball on the overhead that was headed out.
I think that's a risk you always take when you're a serving volleyer. I mean, you hit out balls, but you're not going to let any in balls bounce.
Oh, excellent action by both players.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great tennis. Turning the tables. McCain coming in at the end of that point to close it out. Here he's got Carroll off the court on his back foot. Good approach shot. And there's the angle volley.
As we say, McCain is taking that on you. It's not your backboard. Not the kind of perennial baseline player.
A little hesitation. He looked over his shoulder. I'm sure he thought that he shouldn't have hit that and then changed his mind in the middle.
Carroll at 5-3, 15-30.
A little bit too much backswing. There's that high backhand volley again that's been giving Carroll so much trouble. Too much wrist on that shot. It's coming in. The ball's right where he wants it. He just doesn't get the racket all the way through.
Double break point here for McCain.
Well, there's that ceiling coming into play again.
Uh-huh.
Had we been outside, we'd still be waiting for it to come down.
That's true. It might be in orbit. Still a break point here against Carroll.
Oh, that's a big serve. Yeah, jammed him a little bit inside. Couldn't get his racket around on it.
Oh, what a
That's
return.
great, yeah. Just looped it down at his feet. Made Carroll hesitate. Couldn't get under the ball. Watch this. Carroll slows up to try to, doesn't know what to do and can't get his racket down in time.
The sound you hear is the net crying.
Yeah, probably melted the strings.
Chair umpire asking for the crowd to settle down. Again, a break point here. And it's called good.
Okay.
All is good. And Carroll gives back the break. Well, critical point of the match right there. With Dennis Carroll down a set, comes back and gives back the break. So we are on serve, second set. McCain leads 1-0. Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens here. Danny McCain dodged one bullet and broke back, and now we're on serve at 5-4 at 4-5, second set. 15 love.
Another ace for McCain.
Number 2, both in this set. That return break just might be the edge that McCain needs in a very even match to take it in straight sets. Too early to predict anything at this juncture. Carroll obviously
Having trouble getting his rhythm on this return. That says long.
Love game for Danny McCain. And we are flat even at 5, second set.
Well, I think the mistake that Carroll made in the game before when he had the break is he started playing a little careful.
Well, if there's one thing we can learn from this entire day is that the timid are not rewarded.
Absolutely not.
Not under these circumstances. Beautiful.
And here's
shot
McCain
here.
not being timid on his passing shot at all. I got an inch and a half here. I think I'll take it all.
Oh. Ball is long.
Okay, Carroll was there. Took his racket back too far on that one. Couldn't snap it through in time. That's a great return. And look, he's got him stretched completely out. I don't know how you could keep your balance and still make contact with this ball.
So a triple break point for Danny McCain.
And that's in front of him.
There it is. There it is. And that could be very much what Danny McCain needs to finish this match off. He's just got to hold serve now. Right there.
Here it is, great angle. Yeah, terrific. No fear.
Well, that is obvious. Dennis Carroll's at this point wondering what hit him. Whatever thunder he's been firing, and he's been firing some BBs. Danny McCain has had answers in other cases.
Well, sometimes when he attacks, he can control the points here, but there's other times where if McCain's locked in, they just pass him right and left.
As we told you, they met earlier this season. McCain winning in 3 sets. And there's Dennis Carroll, senior, heading for, we're told, Notre Dame, where he wants to walk on the basketball squad and is calling it a tennis career. Be a nice way to go out, be #1 in the state.
Right. Good way to finish.
Meanwhile, over on the other side, Danny McCain coming in as a freshman, very much in control here, up a set, serving for the match to take a title in his first year in high school.
Well, it's a little bit of a loose point there by McCain. Got a short ball and didn't attack.
Carroll says it was wide. And the lines people, I believe, concur.
Line judge called it wide, too.
Well,
I don't know which happened first.
15-all. Few whistles. Up 30,
That underspin backhand isn't working real good for him today. Just great serve from McCain. Momentum shifts again.
Danny 2 points from the match. And we're at match point. Danny McCain right there.
Hey, Dave, come on, baby. It's all yours. Let's do it.
Going for it all.
That's
Comes back to deuce.
tough shot to make there down the line. They got those single stakes in there, makes the net a little bit higher. And this is a nice low approach shot. Skids a little bit. Just can't quite get under it.
Wanting to finish with a flourish. 40 over.
Nice underspin approach shot by McCain there to set that up. Carroll just couldn't get down low enough to get under it.
Championship point #2. And there
Big
it is.
serve.
Game,
It's a way to
set,
close it.
match. The freshman, Danny McCain. 7-5, 7-5 over Dennis Carroll. Team championship going to Deerfield High School. Deerfield. Also the doubles going to the team from Moline. We'll be back and wrap things up as the champion and mom and dad get some hugs. Well, it may be a little early to speculate, but Danny McCain could become maybe only the third singles champion to win all 4 years. A couple of big names did it before, Mike Morrison and a young fella named Marty Reeson. That was back in the 50s. But Danny McCain, freshman from Springfield, Sacred Heart Griffin, over Dennis Carroll in straight sets, 7-5, 7-5. Earlier in an action-packed doubles match, the team from Moline, the freshman and the senior, Marhofer and Hornbuckle, over the two seniors, Brian Panic and Brian Elliott of Deerfield in 3 sets, 6-2, 2-6, and 8-6. Some special thanks to all who made this broadcast possible. First of all, from the Illinois High School Association, David Fry, the Executive Director, Don Robinson, Associate Executive Director. Here on site, Sue Henriksen, along with Jim Flynn, Marty Hickman, and Ola Bundy, the Assistant Executive Director, and all the people here at the tournament site, led by John Novak, the Tournament Director. And also a special thanks to Warren Myers for all the help he provided. Our next IHSA event on Sports Channel will be the Boys Track and Field Championship from Eastern Illinois tonight, starting at 7 p.m. This event has been produced and directed by Doug Stanton, graphics coordinator Joe Groove. Our executive producer at Sports Channel is Kathleen Karp, Vice President of Programming Mike Bogad. Remote facilities provided by Trio Video of Chicago. So for Corky Layton, I'm Mike Lederman saying so long from Schaumburg. The preceding has been an exclusive presentation of Sports Channel.